What up? It's your boy Tunnel Vision, and we back for another one. Man. Eddie Hearn, you need to do your boy right, man. You need to do right by your boy. Before we get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the videos. Yo, Eddie Hearn had an interview, and in an interview, they were talking about, Usyk's last fight. And he was talking about how this is Usyk's last fight before his championship bout, which basically means they're going to be putting that boy on the shelf just due to the fact, you got to think of it. Ruiz and Anthony Joshua fighting on what, December the 7th? And that's a long time frame, even from now. Then after December 7th, what's the next fight? What, 4 months later? 5, 6 months later? So how long is this man going to be sitting on the shelf? And the way he's thinking about him getting the belt was probably due to the fact of whoever the winner is getting stripped. Just due to the fact that right now there's an IBF mandatory and there's going to be a WBO mandatory. Which, regardless of who wins, you're trying to kind of doing your man an injustice to me in a way. Number one, when it comes to Ruiz, let's say Ruiz wins. Okay, he has all 3 belts. He has a choice. They're just assuming that he's going to take the IBF mandatory. But he might not, because you have to think about it. Which is the bigger fight out of those 2? Him fighting Usyk will actually be a bigger fight, especially after him beating Anthony Joshua for a second time. And, the zone isn't really too big in winning first bids. And for a fight of that magnitude, Ruiz coming off back-to-back wins against Anthony Joshua, a fight against Usyk in Las Vegas would be huge. On Fox, with the promotion, they'll put up that money. They'll put up that money. They'll put up that bread for that purse bid. To win that purse bid. If they even, do it in that fashion. But they're just making the assumption that that's the belt that Ruiz would keep. Not to mention, who says the WBO is going to strip Ruiz anyway? Ruiz has one fight against an IBF champion. The IBF mandatory. And then after that, he's looking at undisputed in a huge clash with Deontay Wilder. With the huge new fan base that Ruiz has got, with the huge fan base that Deontay Wilder has, those who might not understand, but in America, to have an undisputed bout, heavyweight divisions, Mexican American, Black American, man, Cinco de Mayo, or having it on September, in America, that's huge. We're talking 1 million, 1.5 million plus. We're talking 20 plus million gate. We're talking a lot of sponsors wanting to be involved in that fight. We're talking bidding wars for location. We're talking about a lot of bread. So does the WBO really not want to be part of that? Because it don't happen with them or without them. They'll still have that big clash. It being for undisputed is just the icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? So does the WBO not want to be part of something that big? Would they really not want to be something of that magnitude? Maybe they don't. But even if they don't, they're making the assumption that Ruiz would want to fight. Would want to fight for the IBF, would fight the IBF mandatory. Now, with the way that Usyk has looked in his first bout against Witherspoon, whatever the hell his name is, he didn't look that good. Let's be honest. Something of that low tier of competition in the heavyweight division, you should be flatlining. Against any other top tier heavyweight, even the B level heavyweights, they go up against that guy. That guy's out of there. He's stopped in 2-3 rounds. He's gone. And now you're putting this man in a position where you know that he needs work. He hasn't acclimated to the division. His speed hasn't come up. His power hasn't come up. And you have this big, huge opportunity where you can give him the opportunity to acclimate to his division. where he can get multiple bouts in. Where let him get another bout in. Even before December, let him get another bout in, get his ears wet into the division, see if he can get better and stronger. Then after that, let him jump into another fight while Andy Ruiz fights his IBF mandatory. And after that, let them have their undisputed bout. While Usyk gets even more bouts and gets even more acclimated. You're talking about, instead of fighting for one belt, just instead of fighting for just one belt against a nobody, maybe you could be fighting for all four for undisputed. Because after that undisputed bout, you're next. And this can all be done within a 12-month period. By the end of next year, he could be doing this. Fighting for all four belts for undisputed, just for a little bit of patience, for substantially more money than he'll get just fighting whoever the hell he'd be fighting for the belt if Ruiz didn't fight him. If Ruiz decides to drop the IBF belt and decides to fight him and Usyk instead, if let's say Ruiz wins, then you're in still a worse situation because this guy clearly needs to acclimate to the division. And you're not only not going to give him that opportunity, you're also going to put him into a long layoff. On top of that, that's a bad combination against that boy. Against somebody with that much power, with that stamina, with that speed, with that counter-punching ability, and he has with that chin, that weight, where if you can't deal with Witherspoon, you're not going to be able to do anything with Ruiz. It's a bad situation they're putting that boy in. And let's say if Anthony Joshua wins, why would you put Anthony Joshua into a space where he gets a belt stripped? Why wouldn't you have him fight his IBF mandatory, get that belt, and then after fighting that IBF mandatory, go ahead and then fight Usyk for the have him fight Usyk after that. You still get bouts in between. Let Usyk get even more acclimated to the division. And after that, then those two can fight, and Usyk can fight for 3 belts. And then if Usyk's able to win that fight, then hey, he can push for undisputed against Deontay Wilder, the fight that he really wants to do. Then he can go do that. Why wouldn't you let him do that? That would be in his best interest. Why would you want Anthony Joshua, even, who's also your fighter, to be put into a space where he gets a belt stripped from him? So he got knocked out, got flatlined, got the bricks beat out of him. He comes back, has a comeback fight, is able to avenge his loss, get his belts back, and then right after he gets his belt back, you're going to put him into a position where one of them just gets taken away from him? Why would you do that? When it's completely unnecessary. You can have him fight fight the IBF mandatory, have even Usyk fight on the undercard. That's what I would do. Then having him fight on the undercard. After that, boom, let Anthony Joshua fight Usyk, in a fight in the UK. Or in the US, if that's what's necessary, or in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, wherever. Works out for him and it works out for Anthony Joshua. And then whoever the winner is, if it's Anthony Joshua, then he can push for undisputed if that's something that he wants. Between Luis Ortiz, Wilder, and Tyson Fury, whoever has the belt at that particular time. In another big, huge clash for either one of those guys. But to have this focus where it's, the guy's going to get stripped, yeah. And he's going to go be able to fight for one belt, yeah. He's going to be able to fight for this vacant belt, yeah. I don't think he's doing that man any favors by doing so. Just by not having patience, you're probably taking money out of that man's pocket. You're taking away the opportunity for him to fight for even more belts. And you're robbing him of the opportunity to fully get ready for this division. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like somebody needing to do a little bit of work, to make adjustments, in order for them to get back to their peak level performance in a new division that they are, acclimating to the division. But they're taking that away from him, trying to throw him straight into a bout, making the assumption that's going to be for a vacant belt. It might not be for a vacant belt, because I'm Ruiz, I'm Al Heyman, I'm looking at it like, nah, man, we saw that Witherspoon fight. Yeah, we want that one next. And that's a big fight. And, that's the big fight right there. Oh, that's the fight that we want. And he was undisputed at cruiserweight. They're comparing him to Holyfield. Oh, yeah. Let's do that one. We're going to tell them we're dropping that IBF belt. They can keep that IBF belt. We gonna fight for this WBO. we handling our business without mandatory. So hopefully they have patience. They see what's better for the long term, which is actually a very short time frame, 12 months, and do right by that boy. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.